Hey everyone, this is David Brown from Lyco Birds with a birding update from June 3rd, 2024. Let me start with a photo from yesterday evening. I went to a local spot called Mill Street, which is a park that sort of wraps around the Williamsport Regional Airport. I went with my mom and my brother and my 3-year-old niece Evie, and we were able to see this grasshopper sparrow perched up on the fence. And it's so much fun going out with Evie. We kept hearing all of these wood thrushes singing, and she kept saying, "Wood thrushes, wood thrushes." And she was upset about something about the wood thrushes, and we reassured her that the wood thrushes were in the woods and they were fine. And the other thing she wanted to see were the millipedes that always walk across the road there, but we weren't able to find any millipedes for her last night. I started out today around 6 a.m. at a local park called Ryder Park, which is at a bit of a higher elevation, and I wanted to do a mix of birding for the Breeding Bird Atlas, as well as doing some iNaturalist. The beginning of the walk was more of an open area, and I slowly worked my way through, and it was pretty birdy. It was still fairly dark, so I didn't take many bird photos, but here we have an eastern phoebe that was acting agitated, so I think it probably had a nest nearby, and I was also able to confirm another phoebe nest that had young in it. Next, I headed into the woods, expecting to do a couple-mile hike on a loop trail, and here you can see that the understory in this section consists entirely of hay-scented fern. There are a lot of trees that I struggle to identify, but there are also a lot of ones that I'm familiar with that I enjoy seeing every time. Here's some common witch hazel. And here are the distinctively shaped leaves of the tulip tree. And here's the Pennsylvania state flower in bloom. This is mountain laurel. My hike was cut short when my brother Bobby texted me saying that he had a red-necked Phalarope at Rose Valley Lake. I rushed over there, and Bobby was just getting ready to leave because he had to head to work, but I did get a look at the Phalarope, and I watched it for a while, and then another local birder showed up as well, but by that point I couldn't see it from where I was, so we split up and went different directions, and he ended up re-finding not just one red-necked Phalarope, but two of them together. And from what I could tell, it was a male and a female. And actually, Phalaropes are a little unusual in that the females are brighter in plumage than the males. These birds are just late migrants, and their nesting territory is nowhere near here. They go way up north. Continuing on to some other things that I saw at Rose Valley Lake, here we have a willow flycatcher. Here we have Alsic clover, Trifolium hybridum. And let me read something interesting from the Wikipedia article. Despite its scientific name, Alsic clover is not of hybrid origin. The plant gets its common name from the town of Alsic in Sweden, from which Linnaeus first described it. He thought it was a cross between white clover and red clover, but in this he was mistaken, and it is a separate species. I was walking along the road at the north end of the lake, and there was a guardrail and then a little bit of an embankment, and down below there were two white-tailed deer fawns down in the grass. And so as soon as I saw them, I just froze and stood there. And they actually started to come closer and closer to me just on the other side of the guardrail. And I didn't move. And then their mother peeked out from behind a bush and saw that I was standing there fairly close to them. And she flinched, and then they both flinched and ran off. So I was trying to do my best not to startle them, but in the end, it ended up startling them anyway. So really cool to see them up so close, though. And I hope I didn't frighten them too bad. Here is a recently fledged eastern bluebird. You can see they're a little bit more spotty underneath compared to the adults. I wasn't quite ready to head home yet, so on the drive home I stopped at State Game Lands 298, which has a spot that I really enjoy. And in this photo, it doesn't really show it, but actually this is quite steep uphill, and you can walk uphill for quite a ways if you like to. But the first section here is more of a thick forest. As you get up higher, it starts to open up and become sunnier, but I like this darker area that has a lot of ferns and other cool plants. For example, here's some cinnamon fern, which is one of our larger ferns, and you can see that the fertile fronds here look like cinnamon sticks, and they're separate from the sterile fronds. Here's another common fern. This is Christmas fern, and it gets its name because it is evergreen. Here's a fungus that was growing from a downed log. This is hemlock varnish shelf, Ganoderma tsugae. Some people may look at this and say it's a mosquito, but actually it's not a mosquito, it's a crane fly. Here's another cool insect that I found. This is the golden-backed snipe fly, Chrysopolis thoracicus. And back at our house in the afternoon, we had this juvenile hairy woodpecker. Remember that adult male hairy woodpeckers would have the red on the back of the head, but you can identify the juveniles because they have the red on top of the head. And here's a side view of the same juvenile hairy woodpecker. All right, that's it for today. I hope you learned something new, and I know that I definitely learned a bunch of new stuff today by going out in the field and then researching afterwards, and then of course making these videos. From Lake O'Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.